wild and cheap. So today is it's a pretty good day. Not only do I get to poke holes in a piece of plastic, which is quite a lot of fun, surprisingly. I'm a simple mind, it's fine. We're going to be trying this root beer. Oh yeah, that has been seductively looking at me in the corner while it's fermented. It's finally stopped. Pretty much all the yeast has dropped out, as you can see. And we're going to try it to see if it's like cough medicine. So that's going to be pretty awesome. So yeah, first things first, I'm going to try it to see if it's actually drinkable. Oh yeah, I'm excited. I've been wanting to try this since before I made it. That's how much I wanted to try this. So let's give it a smell. Doesn't smell bad actually. It smells kind of beery with sarsaparilla and the sassafras. So I'm really excited. So I've went ahead and I sterilised this tube. I've sterilised the worktop, mainly because this was my little engineering project. So really did. I don't fancy copper in my stuff. Copper's bad. So in it goes. The top does have a bit of crud in it, but I can only presume that's because of the oats starches. So let's give this a go. I only want a little bit, unfortunately, because if it's tasty, it's being bottled. So let's see how this is. So just put that there. Great thing about sterilising everything. Put the lid on just in case. It's winter, so shouldn't have any problems, but don't know. So this is the root beer, which, to be fair, it isn't a very dark colour. I'll put my hands up and say that I didn't make a very dark root beer. Yeah. Anyway, so but it smells good, and that is what I'm interested in. The taste. I don't care how it looks. It isn't clear, but we didn't add any enzymes or, you know, stuff like that. And I don't think you should. It's a root beer. It's not supposed to be. Ooh, this is cheeky. I like it. You know, I think it needs a bit of aging and a bit more fizz. Doesn't quite taste like root beer. Funny that. But it isn't bad. It isn't bad. I wouldn't say this is root beer, but it has a beer-like quality. I can taste the sarsaparilla and the sassafras. I think I'm going to have to experiment with this again, but I'm calling this a success. So what I'm going to do is going to set stuff up, and we're going to start bottling it. Yay! So I have everything set up in front of us so we can start bottling. So I really quite like this. It's not, as I remember root beer being, mainly because it was non-alcoholic, and it came from Waitrose, which they stopped doing, which is very shameful. So because I wanted to see what it was like, I added in a little bit of sugar to this, just to sweeten it up, because it is, funny enough, bone dry. I like things bone dry. And by adding the extra sugar, it really did change the flavour. It really did bring out the sassafras and the sarsaparilla. And yeah, there is a slight bitter twang to it currently, but I think that's because it's, well, quite low in the percentage, and we use the honey. So turns out lower percentage of honey means you've got to age it. I don't know how that works. It just seems to be, for my palate, that's how it is. So we're going to be carbonating this lovely root beer. And that's why I added in the oats, because I want to give it a nice head like a beer. So this should be quite fun. So I am using plastic water bottles. Fortunately, my local shop started stocking cases of this water, which is good for me because it means I don't have to try and fit it on a little bike. I'm using plastic and not glass. It's just for my peace of mind. If a plastic bottle explodes because I, haphazardly put a bit too much sugar, no big deal, I've just got a wet floor. If you accidentally put too much sugar in a glass bottle, it turns them into bottle bombs, and I've seen firsthand the destruction that a glass bottle can have in a confined space, so I'm always going to use the plastic, but it's up to you. So these are already pre-sterilized, that's why they're lovely, lovely, and the seals are unbroken, and I put this pan here so I can just literally pour it out. I am using my mini siphon. As you can see, the side has been sterilized, so that's all good. And yeah, the reason I'm using that is because it's a bit slower, so I can pour stuff out, but it's going to make sure that the vast majority of all this crud in the bottom, or the crust if you want to be technical, but it's crud, doesn't go into my lovely, lovely bottles. So I'm going to put you down there. And, whoa, stay. Causing trouble already. Quite a lot of water. See, if it was sparkling water, I'd drink it, but it's basically tap water, and I can get out the tap. Ooh, I've got a tasty mouthful. So lovely. So basically, this is just going to slowly fill up, and yeah, I'll be back once we're done all of these bottles. Right, so here we have 3 and a little bit. Now, mainly my fault. I knocked it as I was tipping it up to get the remaining, basically, half litre out. A little bit less than I thought. Oh, that's what happens with homebrew. All this oat sediment and yeast sediment. Oh well, never mind. I don't really fancy the cloudy stuff, so I'm just going to take the creme de la creme, and this stuff I can siphon out tomorrow and have a cheeky drink with it. So it goes well for me. So what I'm going to be doing is priming these bottles to make them lovely. And basically priming just means we're going to add some sugar. Now I was going to add sweetener to some of these, but I've eaten it all, basically, which is pretty cool. So this is going to be a dry root beer, so I think that's a bit different. I quite like the idea. And well, I like it enough so I don't have to pop up the shop, because it's, it's just at the top of the hill. So what I'm going to do is prime these bottles. So I've got myself a measuring spoon. Now you can just use an ordinary teaspoon, because that is the same as what I'm using here. It's just I can get a more accurate reading. This is going to give it, hopefully, a good fizz, which is going to bring the head out. Now we don't need to degas these, because, funny that, we're adding in sugar to make gas, to pressurize these little puppies. So I'll literally just open these back up again. Take 1 teaspoon of sugar and throw it in. That is pretty simple. So now I'm going to put you over there. Very dry. But I like that. I still get the flavours and everything. So if you want a sweet root beer, do exactly the same thing. Just add 1 teaspoon of sweetener to it, because you cannot ferment the sweetener. Now I've got this little bit left over, so I'm going to drink that off camera. Yay! So I've got all fancy on you guys. Instead of doing my usual just piece of paper and sellotape, I went and got all fancy. I know. And I bought myself some address labels. I don't mind, they're only £1, so it's not like they're breaking the bank. But it's just going to make my life a lot easier. So, there we go. So in theory, these should already be primed, because there were bits of yeast in these grooves in the plastic bottle, which should have got in here. Only a tiny amount, but you don't need a lot to prime and carbonate your beverages. So now I'm just going to take my fancy labels and stick them on. Oh, this is strange. You know, what happened to the day of just using a piece of paper and some tape? Whatever next, be making strawberry blush wine. Ooh. I do like strawberry blush wine, so I can't really slate people for drinking it. It's tasty. Moved. Don't need them. Put them in the recycling. Apart from that plastic bottle. That one committed suicide. So, we now have 3 litres of actually it's quite tasty root beer. So it's going to take approximately 2 weeks for this to hopefully ferment and pressurize this, and we're going to leave it for at least 8 weeks after that. And this is because this is, funny enough, dry as a bone, so aging it is going to help. I found that with quite a lot of the things that I make, aging makes it better. So this should work exactly the same for this root beer. And it's alcoholic, so why not? If you make it sweet, you can drink it straight away. But I think some aging of this is going to produce something that's going to be pretty unique and pretty tasty. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys, because I'm excited to try this. Ooh, pardon me. I'm excited to try it once it's finished and gassed to see. So join me in about 8.5 weeks, so where we get to crack open one of these bottles and see how tasty it really is. So take care, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. See you later.